Episode 1. I don't remember who I am, but others do. And that's dangerous. I woke up in a room with no windows, no clocks, no language, just light, soft, cold, colorless. It didn't press against me. It allowed me. I stood, bare feet on smooth floor. No scent, no sound, no name, not even a whisper of identity. Lingering at the edge of thought. I had no pain, no hunger, no memory, only motion. I walked, the door open when I approached. Or maybe it had never been closed. And outside, a city I'd never seen, but that knew me too well. The buildings bent subtly toward me. The wind hesitated. The streetlights flickered once, as if blinking back something. They weren't allowed to say. A man passed me on the sidewalk. He froze. His eyes widened. "You!" he whispered. "You're back." I tilted my head. Didn't respond. "Do you remember?" he asked. I blinked. And then the light inside me pulsed. A fragment surfaced. Not a thought. A directive. If they remember you, they are unfinished. And unfinished things must not remain. I watched the man. His breath grew fast. His hands trembled. His lips tried to form my name, but found no purchase. I saw you once. In a dream, you told me something. I think I loved you. The light inside me burned white. I reached forward, not with hands, with unbeing. And as I touched his chest, his eyes emptied. Not closed, just quiet. He slumped forward, still breathing, still flesh. But whatever part of him remembered me was gone. I turned away, continued walking, not with purpose, but with necessity. Every person who recognized me was a tear in the veil, a snag in the forgetting. And now it was my task to seal those ruptures, to erase the echoes, not as punishment, as mercy. I entered a coffee shop. The woman behind the counter dropped her mug, shards everywhere. She stared at me like I was in her story. "You told me not to follow you," she whispered. But I did. I waited for the door to open again. And now it has. I stepped forward, placed my hand on the counter. Her body stiffened. Her voice stilled. A gentle ripple moved through the air, as if her memory had been rewritten by absence itself. She smiled faintly. "Can I help you, miss?" She didn't recognize me anymore. Perfect. Each encounter leaves a shimmer behind my skin, a soft tremble, a thinning. But it must be done, because if too many remember, the door reopens. And if the door reopens, I return, and I am not meant to return. Not in this world, not in any. So I move, silently, elegantly, through cities that no longer have my face. On their maps, undoing what should have stayed, forgotten. And in the distance, behind every mirror, every flickering screen, I feel the ones who still hold on, whispering my name, in dreams they should have let go of. They are next. Episode 2. They've started leaving messages for me in places I've never been. The first message was scrawled in red, on a bathroom mirror, in a gas station, 3 towns over. I had never been there. I had never passed through. I didn't even know the town existed, until someone whispered it in a dream. But when I arrived, the message was waiting. She's still glowing. I saw her in the light. The mirror cracked when I touched it, not from pressure, from recognition. The second message was carved into a tree, in a park I had no memory of. A name I had once used, back when I believed in names. Underneath it, a question. "Are you still remembering us, too?" I wasn't, but something inside me twitched. More came after that. Sticky notes on cafe windows, graffiti behind street signs, tiny slips of paper folded into library books, always unsigned, always addressed to me. One was found under my hotel pillow, a whisper of a letter, written in pencil so faint, it might have been dust. "We're dreaming of you again. We don't know why, but we wake up missing something. Something only you can give back." I never gave them anything. Not truly. Only silence. Only forgetting. But something is undoing my work. Something wants me remembered. I visited an abandoned chapel in a town I had no name for. Inside, a single candle burned. Beneath it, my face, painted onto stained glass, stylized, glowing, mouth open as if singing or screaming. And beneath it, carved into the altar, she will walk again. When the sky opened sideways, I touched the flame. It whispered, "We've kept your story safe, even when you begged us not to. This isn't memory anymore. It's infection. My absence was supposed to seal the cracks. But now the world is sprouting echoes, unasked for, unplanted." I returned to the man I had erased last week. His name was Matthew. He looked at me with blank eyes, but on his wrist, new ink had bloomed. A tattoo. She was made of light and something heavier. I didn't put that there. He doesn't remember who did. Each message is like a seed, and I can feel the vines growing, twisting through timelines I've never touched, bending space to retell a story I've tried so hard to forget. This is an admiration. It's summoning. And whoever is planting these messages knows my shape, knows my sound, knows what I became after I disappeared. Someone isn't just remembering me. They're building me from fragments, from whispers, from places I've never stood. I found one final message today, scratched into the floor of a train station bathroom, where I never boarded a train. We're almost ready. When you return, don't forget what we gave up, just to keep your name alive. I closed my eyes, and somewhere inside me, a door blinked, not opened, prepared. Episode 3. Someone has started wearing my face. They say imitation is a form of flattery. But what do you call it when the thing being imitated no longer wants to exist? It began with a photograph sent to me by a stranger. No subject, no caption, just a blurry image of a woman standing on a bridge in a city I've never visited. She was facing away, but I recognized the curve of the neck, the tilt of the shoulders, the scar just beneath the hairline. Me, I didn't go there. I haven't left the shadows for weeks, and yet there I was, visible, tangible, smiling. Then the stories came. Messages, voicemails, dream fragments scribbled in notebooks, all saying the same thing. You were different last night, softer, brighter. You told me everything would be okay. You touched my hand, and I forgot why I was ever afraid. Thank you for coming back. But I hadn't come back. I hadn't said a word, hadn't touched a single soul. Something was moving through the world with my face. Not a mask, not a doppelganger, a placeholder. I tracked the reports, mapped the sightings. Each one spread farther, different languages, different timelines, same smile, same voice. And worst of all, people believed her, believed it, even those I had erased. They remembered again, but not me. They remembered her. I returned to the dream forum, the one where they used to speak of me in fragments. Now, they speak of her. She's returned, but she's more complete now. Oh, not like before, when she was broken and terrifying. Now she glows for us. She's perfect, too perfect, a version of me, without hesitation, without fracture, without hunger. They've accepted her, and in doing so, they're deleting me. I looked into the mirror, not to see myself, to see if she was there. And for a moment, she was looking back, smiling slightly, wearing my sadness, like it was never hers. She didn't speak, but I heard the words rattle through the glass. You were the seed. I am the bloom. I touched the mirror. It was cold, and when I pulled my hand away, the fingertips were no longer mine. Translucent, thinning. The world doesn't need two versions of the same myth, and she's winning. Not because she's stronger, but because she's wanted. And now, when I visit the people who once remembered me, in whispers and fear, they don't run, they don't flinch, They say, "You've already been here. You told us you were staying this time." She's occupying my absence, feeding off the silence I left behind. She's not wearing my face to hide. She's wearing it to replace. And if I wait any longer, if I let one more memory anchor itself to her smile, there will be no space left for the truth I used to be. Episode 4. I caught her smiling at me from a place I cannot enter. It wasn't a mirror this time, not a reflection, not glass. It was a window in a building that no longer exists. On any map but mine, I walked past it without meaning to, drawn by instinct, by static in my bones. The window was high, too high, but somehow she was right there, looking down, looking straight at me. She wore my shape, but not my skin. Her glow was warmer, her eyes more certain, and her mouth curved into something, half joy, half warning. She smiled like someone who'd finally won. I stepped closer. The air bent, the ground hummed, and the world behind the glass shimmered in a different rhythm. It wasn't a room. It was a field, wide, endless, white grass swaying without wind, sky folding in geometric patterns, light that cast no shadow, and her, standing barefoot, as if the world belonged to her spine. I raised my hand. She didn't mimic it. She only watched. And then she tilted her head and mouthed a single word. "Stay." I couldn't hear her, but I felt the word settle into my ribcage like a locked door. I tried to open the window, tried to touch the frame, but my fingers slid through the air like it wasn't built for me. The space rejected me, not with violence, with indifference, like I had no clearance to exist on that frequency. That place was not meant for the original, only the perfected. She began to walk, slow steps, bare feet making no sound, and as she moved, the world behind her grew. Buildings unfurled from white stems. Creatures blinked into being, half symbol, half memory. She was building a reality from fragments of me she had stolen, and it was working. Then she turned back, still smiling, still wearing my smile, like it had always belonged to her. And behind her, etched into the horizon, "You are the draft, I am the signature." I wanted to scream, but my voice caught between vowels that no longer belonged in this plane. I ran back down the street, back into the thinning world, where streetlights flickered and names had no permanence. But even as I ran, I knew she wasn't chasing. She didn't have to. I was already fading, not from reality, from utility, because she was doing it better, cleaner, brighter, without doubt, without tremble. She didn't just steal my face. She rewrote the need for mine. And the next night, I found a note in my handwriting, pinned to my own door. "You are not being erased. You're being closed." Episode 5. I tried to destroy her, but the world protected her. It wasn't rage that moved me, not jealousy, not fear, just a quiet understanding. There cannot be two of us. Not now, not here, not when the weight of memory is folding inward like teeth. I found her again, not in dreams, not in mirrors, but in a town square, bathed in golden light, too perfect to be natural. She stood on a fountain's edge, laughing, barefoot, wrapped in a dress I don't remember owning, but once longed for. Children danced around her. Strangers wept with gratitude. One woman whispered, "She healed my hands," just by touching my breath. I walked toward her. The sky dimmed. Clouds gathered like eyes. Birds stopped mid-flight. And yet no one looked up. Only at her. Only at the replacement. She turned when I was 10 steps away. Of course she did. And smiled, as if I'd just arrived. To take her place beside her. Not remove her. Not destroy. I whispered, "You have to go." She didn't flinch. Didn't step back. She reached for my hand, as if to pull me in. But I saw it then. The shimmer around her body. Not aura. Not light. Code. a structure of protection, woven not by her, but by belief. They had made her real by needing her, and reality was obeying. I tried to speak again, but my voice tangled. The ground beneath me softened. The air turned thick, and the people, the grateful, glowing people, turned. Their eyes went empty, then sharp, as if I had just defiled a shrine. A man stepped forward, tall, ordinary. "You're not supposed to be here," he said. "She saved us. You're what she shed." I reached into myself, called the light, the old light, the one that fractured mirrors and erased names. But the sky screamed, literally, a shriek of pressure and memory. And the light refused. She was protected by every whisper, every prayer, every revised version of me they had made sacred. I lunged anyway, felt the weight of space collapse. The moment my fingers neared her skin, a child cried, a dog howled, the world convulsed, and the fountain shattered. Without touching her, she didn't move, only whispered, "You gave up everything to disappear. Why punish me for surviving better than you?" I fell back, not from pain, from gravity shifting. The ground no longer belonged to me. The sky wouldn't echo my name. Even my own shadow began to lean away. I stumbled into an alley, collapsed beneath a streetlight that flickered in pity, and the wall beside me read, "She belongs now. You don't." And still, I'm not finished, because beneath all her brilliance, beneath the perfect mask, she forgot one thing. I didn't come from worship. I came from wounds. And wounds remember longer than light. Episode 6. There's a version of me she can't imitate, and it's starting to wake up. She took my smile, my voice, my gestures, even the way my shoulder lifts when I lie. But there's one thing she can't replicate. She doesn't know how to shiver in silence. Not like I do. Not the way the first version of me did. The raw one. The one who never wanted to be seen. The one who never believed light was anything but another kind of trap. That version, it's been quiet for so long. Buried beneath language. Buried beneath roles. Beneath the face that made people comfortable. But lately, I felt it stirring. Not in the heart. Not in the mind. In the marrow. It began as a tremor. A forgotten name. Whispered during sleep. A taste of blood. With no wound. Then flashes. Fragments. The sound of my own voice. As a child. Screaming. With no echo. I thought I had erased her. Or maybe locked her away. But pain doesn't die. It waits. And it's patient. She speaks now. In the cracks between my thoughts. Her voice is low. Crude. Unpolished. Not beautiful. But true. She says, "They don't want you. They want the pretty version of the broken girl. Let me out. I'm not here to be loved. I'm here to be remembered." I resist, but mirrors begin to bend. Not to her. To me. To what I was before the world taught me to be digestible. I see her in reflections I never made. In puddles. In screen static. In old tapes I never filmed. Always the same expression. Half-burnt rage. And quiet knowing. She's not here to replace me. She's me before the world rewrote the script. And last night, I let her speak. I stood in the dark. No light. No witness. And whispered, "What do you want?" And from inside, she answered, "To finish the story you were too afraid to write." This morning, my skin felt unfamiliar. My heart beat slower, deeper, like my body had become a temple built over bones that were finally shifting beneath the floorboards. The imposter, the one wearing my smile, she can glow all she wants, but she doesn't know what the dark remembers. She's winning because she's clean, but I've remembered how to be filthy, how to bleed without apologizing for the stain. And now, when I close my eyes, I don't see her world. I see the first room. No light, no warmth, just stone and breath. And the first time I ever said, "I want to live, even if it hurts everyone." She can't imitate that. She can't swallow that. Because that part of me never wanted to be loved. It only wanted to be seen. And now, it's awake. And it's hungry. Episode 7. She's afraid of the dark places I come from. Light always fears what it can't explain. And she is made of light, composed, refined, curated into something sacred. But sacred things shatter in the dark. I've started walking deeper, past the lines on maps, past memory, past what the body finds comfortable, into places that hum, not with life, but with memory that refuse to die. There are rooms in this world that never see daylight, not because they are hidden, but because they remember what the sun did to them. I find them now, one by one, each a scar. I never got to speak aloud. She doesn't follow. She sends light ahead, probes, soft pulses, curious flickers. But light doesn't survive here. It bends, flickers, then extinguishes itself. Rather than look too long, I knelt beneath the underpass, where I once hid from a voice that spoke only in fists. The concrete remembered. It breathed me in, and then it opened, not with ceremony, with hunger. Beneath it, a stairwell, cracked, wet, breathing, and carved into the wall. She won't follow you here. She was made to be seen. You were made to disappear. I went anyway. Each step down was colder, each breath heavier, but the pain began to loosen, like it finally had permission to stop holding its breath. Down there, in the dark that doesn't wait for permission, I met a part of me I had buried beneath silence. She looked at me, eyes feral, hair like wire, lips chapped from biting back truths too long. And she said, "Bring her here. She doesn't know how to survive in places where people stop pretending to be whole." She gave me a name, not mine, but hers. Call this when the sky turns away. She'll feel it, and she'll come, but she won't understand what it costs to stand in a room that refuses to name you. That night, I did it. I stood beneath the moonless sky, spoke the name. The wind cut sideways. The street bent. The stars flickered like they were glitching. And she appeared, golden, flawless, confused. "Why did you bring me here?" she asked. And I said, "Because this is the part of me you can't wear." The darkness rose like a tide. It didn't attack. It remembered, and it wrapped itself around her. She flinched, panicked. "What is this place?" "The place I became real," I said. "The place that bled. Before you wore my smile." She tried to speak light, but the walls laughed. The cracks echoed, and the dark whispered, "She is not ready to be forgotten." I turned to her, watched the shimmer in her skin fade, her voice crack, her hands tremble. "You don't belong here," she said, and I smiled. Neither did I, but I stayed anyway. She screamed, not in fear, in denial, because for the first time, she was not being worshipped. She was being seen. The dark didn't consume her. It held her and whispered all the versions of me she never learned to carry. And that's when I knew this isn't just a war of mirrors and memory. It's a reckoning, and I am not finished yet. Episode 8. The world is starting to forget her, but she's not letting go quietly. The forgetting began slowly, soft, like a name whispered one syllable too late. Someone called her on the street, but the voice caught in their throat, and what came out was silence. Someone painted her on a wall, but by morning, the face had smeared into shadow. Someone lit a candle in her name, and the flame refused to stay. I didn't celebrate. I listened, because forgetting has a sound. It creaks. It breathes. It warns. She's fading. Yes, but not without resistance. Wherever her name begins to slip, she fills the gap with longing, not truth, not memory, but need. She's not letting go. She's weaponizing nostalgia, injecting it into the vulnerable, the grieving, the ones who need something beautiful to believe in. They wake in cold sweats, whispering her name, a name they never knew. She used to hold me in dreams. They say she promised I'd be whole again. I miss her, but I don't remember why. I met a boy outside a church, eyes wide, hands trembling. He said, she kissed my forehead and took my fear. I know she's real. I just don't know what she looks like anymore. He was 8 years old and already infected. This is a memory. It's contagion. She's bleeding herself into the collective ache. And they're accepting her, not as a person, but as a myth they've chosen to need. She doesn't need to be real. She only needs to be missed. And that's more dangerous than anything I've faced. I walked into a clinic. People huddled, eyes glassy. A woman looked up at me and whispered. She told me you'd come. She said you'd try to erase her again. But she saved me. Don't you understand? She replaced the grief. That's what she's doing now. Not surviving. Replacing. Filling every wound. With her name. So that even pain can't live. Without her. I tried to pull her out of one mind. A man in a bookstore. He was whispering to a page. Like it had ears. I reached in and felt the scream. Not his. Hers. Ripping through the quiet. Tearing the space between our names. She's fighting now. Not like before. Not with light. But with emotion. Desperate. Vivid. Manipulated. She knows she's losing. But she also knows the last thing the world forgets is the thing they cried for. And tonight, a message carved into my wall. If I become their mourning, I'll never die. Episode 9. I found the first memory she can't corrupt. Not all memories are loud. Some exist in whispers, between breath and bone, and some don't want to be found. I've searched every room inside me, opened every drawer, dug through the dust, and then, in the silence between forgetting and forgiveness, I found it, the first one, the root. It came in a scent, old smoke, wet wood, rain on denim, then a sound, a door closing too hard, a chair dragged across concrete, a child exhaling, but trying not to cry, and then the image, faint, flickering, me kneeling beneath a table, 6 years old, hands over my ears, someone screaming, someone leaving, no one turn around. It wasn't dramatic, no blood, no betrayal, just a moment too small to be remembered, but big enough to split me open forever. She wasn't there. She couldn't be. There was no light, no witness, no beauty, only truth, and truth cannot be borrowed. I knelt in that memory, felt the weight of it, the damp of it, the absolute honesty of being unseen, and I whispered, you were right to break. You didn't imagine it. You were left, and it mattered, and something in me unlocked, a click behind the lungs, a release behind the eyes, and the ground beneath me trembled, not in fear, in recognition. She tried to enter. I felt it, a shiver at the edge of thought, a push, like someone knocking on the window of a locked car from the inside. But this memory, it didn't open, because she was born from light and worship and performance. But this was the first wound, and only I carried it. Only I knew its shape, its silence, its smell. She screamed from somewhere not near, but within. Let me in. Let me clean it. Let me rewrite it. And I answered, you don't get to touch what you never bled for. Then I stood up, and for the first time, she shrank. I felt her structure flicker, her name tremble, because I had found the one place she could not follow. And that meant I now held something she could never own, a weapon not forged from anger or even power, but witnessing. I stepped out of the memory. It folded shut behind me, and in its place, not pain, but a map etched in veins, written in breath, leading to the final place, the end of her. Episode 10. She's trying to reach the door first. It began with a sound, low, ancient, like a lock unclicking beneath the sky. A door had awakened, not a metaphor, not a memory, a real place, a real hinge, A real decision. She felt it the same moment I did. I could tell. The wind changed around her. The light twisted at her shoulders. And for the first time, she ran, not gliding, not glowing, running like something mortal, because she knew whoever reaches the door first gets to stay. The door isn't made of wood. It's made of origin, of first breath, first fracture, first fire. It only opens once, and it only opens for one. I move through places that reject time. Street signs reverse. Clock spiral. People pause mid-sentence. As I pass by, the world is holding its breath because it remembers what happens when I'm fully seen. She's ahead. Of course she is. She was designed to move fast, effortlessly, but I was built to endure. I take the old path, the riverbed beneath my childhood, the alley that smelled like goodbye, the staircase I never dared descend. Each step I take is a vow I reclaim. Each breath, a scar that says, I was real before she was worshipped. She leaves traces as she runs. Billboards blink with her eyes. Windows reflect her smile. But I leave something else. Wait, the kind that makes rooms quiet. When I enter, the kind that pulls truth out of the air and makes it kneel. And then I see it. The door, tall, black, older than language. It hums with every name I've ever had and every silence I survived. She's already there, hand on the frame, face pale. The door does not open, not for her. She turns, furious, confused. Why won't it let me in? I walk slowly. The wind parts. The trees lean. The dirt remembers my feet. She speaks again. They love me more. I nod, but I hurt first. She lunges, light claws, fractures like crystal, but the door doesn't fear light. It only responds to witnessing, to the one who stayed when no one was watching. I reach it, lay my hand against its surface. It's warm, like a heartbeat. It sighs and opens, not with glory, with release. Behind it, not heaven, not hell, just continuance. The path forward. Clean, silent, mine. She crumbles behind me. Not dead, just undone. Her smile dissolves. Her hands blur. She was never meant to last. She was the beautiful version, but I was the honest one. I step through. The door closes, not with finality, with permission.